Hello guys, today we're doing something a little bit different. I'll be doing very rarely not Nerf videos, and this is one of them. Looking at Roblox, one of my favorite games on Roblox is a game called Fnaf TD, and I'm here to figure out who is the best starter of all time in Fnaf TD. This will be interesting because this is going to be going in depth, not insanely, not like overall, but this is probably going to be the best list that will ever be on YouTube for Fnaf TD for starters. But let's just get on to it. Really, nothing more to say. So, how I did this is we did endless 7 for all of them. All of them were grouped together as close as I could, so the range did get taken into consideration. I put it on 25% faster speed. That's the only thing I put on it, on every single one. And these are the enchantments. No starter did not have an enchantment. It at least had Shadow, or Overclocked, Vengeance, or Springlocked. Yes, is Shadow the worst of these? Debatable, to be honest with you. But at least Shadow. And on top of that, they are all wrenched, and they at least have an A- to a glitched. And then the money range, which I decide that a starter can be, is from 300 to 4,000. Yes, is 4,000 a lot for a starter? Of course, but it does have its uses, and I did use a $4,000 dollar starter at one point. Now, with all that considered, there is some issues with this list. I literally went through every single starter, spent so many souls, and I just couldn't get my hands on these two. Hooligan Toy Bonnie I've literally seen once ever, and it's for 100,000 souls. And War Machine Foxy is around, but it's for 160,000, and there was a character that was somewhat like War Machine Foxy that was way cheaper. I don't know why War Machine Foxy is so expensive, and why Hooligan Toy Bonnie is just nowhere to be seen. These two did not get a test, but they're still in the ranking list. I just did my best. They didn't do the endless mode, and I'm sorry about that. I did the best I could. But with that, let's actually get on to how many starters are in Fnaf TD. There are a total of 97 starters in the $300 to $4,000 range. And with Endless 7 on 25% speed boost, 67 of these starters did not make it past round 4. 24 of them landed between round 5 to round 19, and only 6 of them made it to 20 plus. So this will be a very, very big list. Very in-depth. Well, in-depth enough. I just ranked them how I could. But how it's really going to be worked is range, damage, cooldown are all very, very important to me in this list. How much they cost is important. If they cost a lot more, they'll be lower down the list. And the absolute like knockoff why I can't move it down is if it made it to a different wave than another character. It will be in order from wave 4, 5 to 20 plus. And with that, let's just start the list, shall we? So starting off at the absolute worst is Cupcake Tank. First of all, costs way too much money. 2,000. You can place 2 of them, and this is the only character in this ranking that didn't do a single lick of damage. Not a single Cupcake Tank spawned. I don't know what it says about cooldown of 5 seconds. It never even... I was there for 20 seconds, and not a single tank left. The exits. Spawners are just not good starters. And Cupcake Tank is the absolute worst. It does have all A minuses, but that does not really matter for a spawner all that much. And also does poopy damage. The worst. Next up is Shiny Chica. 1.5 seconds for 50 damage. You can place 3 of them. Costs 500. It is poop. It is garbage. This thing doesn't do anything. And a range of 14, that means this thing like maybe hits like 2 or 3 times. So you do 150 damage and that is it before it gets by you. It just stinks. 95. Pretty much the same thing, but less damage. It hits faster and has, I'm pretty sure, the worst slow enemy ability in the game. And it costs 800. You can place 3 of them. Because when this thing was slowing, I didn't know this thing had slow. Like, this thing, like, maybe slows by, like, 10 or 5%. Because this thing is bad. It just doesn't do the damage for the ability. The ability can be good. But for this one, it's not. It's really bad. 95. 94. What were they thinking of Patriot Freddy? 4 seconds, 100 damage. The only reason he's ahead of the other ones because you can place 4 of him, and he does 200 damage in 3.5 seconds if you max upgrade him. And he's really cheap, so you can almost fully upgrade all 4 in the amount of time that would take to upgrade the others. It's still awful. Better range. Absolute crap cooldown. So that's why he is here at 94. At 93, we got Bonnet. He's bad. 1.5, 100 damage. But the thing about Bonnet, he is easily maxed in Endless 7. Easily all 3 of them can be maxed. He's probably the cheapest character to max in the game. And he has 25 range. He's just a really easy character to fully max. He's okay damage, bad cooldown for the damage, but okay range. You place 3 of them, so 93. At 92 is Shiny Baker Chica, and it's spring locked, and it's still 92. You can place 3 of them, 120 damage, still very bad range, same cooldown, but he is just does more damage in the same amount of time. So even though he has bad range, Spring Lock gave him plus 80 to range, so that's why he's a bit higher. He's 92. And 91 is this guy. 4,500 damage in 1 second, but there's no way you're going to get him the max. So he does 150 damage in 1.5 seconds with 15 range. He is honestly the worst character that costs 4,000, and you can only place 2 of him. Golden Freddy, you should never, ever, even if you're starting, I don't think Golden Freddy is useful. Stay away, that's for sure. At 90 is the Freddles, the only other spawner on this list, and he was overclocked. He actually did somewhat damage, but he's also not hard to, max because he's 400. So at max, he does 3,000 in 7 seconds, which honestly sounds like a lot, but it's really not a lot at all. Like, honestly, we're about to get to the characters that can do 3,000 in 7 seconds, so that's why he's here. He's okay. The issue was he just couldn't spawn them fast enough. He just didn't do the damage. 3,000 is just not enough. So, 90. 89 is actually a weird one. The machinery Foxy. You can place 4 of him. He costs 2,500 each. It actually does a lot of damage. 0.05 for 25 damage is actually a lot more than a lot of others. But the issue is this guy is probably one of the hardest ones to get to max. Because you think that starting amount is a lot? Man, it gets way worse. So what you're going to end up getting if he's your starter, you're going to get 20 damage in 0.25. So that's 100 damage in that's 80 damage in 1 second. That costs 2,500. Do I have to say more? 88, Shiny Toy Freddy. 200 damage, 1.5, range of 15. The range is what really gets to him. He does do more damage, but that range and cooldown just is not good. But honestly, he's decent enough from everything we've seen so far. And you can place 3 of them, 800. So, yeah. By the way, all these guys are going to be wave 4 for a while. At 87, everyone should know this guy. The Commando Endo. He spawns Endos that shoot and is probably the worst spawner. I forgot he was on this list. I'm sorry, guys. You can place 2 of them for 600, but at least he has 23 range. He does 30 damage in 0.25. Which comes out to be, 120 damage in 1 second. Which is worse than this guy. But he also gets almost 10 range more, which I think is more important. You can only place 2 of them, but you might not like it. I do think the spawning Endos make up for it. Yes, they're bad, but they do shoot and do damage. So, 87. At 86, Endo 3. I really wanted to place him at the bottom, but I just couldn't place him any lower than this. Endo 3. 220 damage in 0.75 seconds sounds amazing. But actually what you're going to get is a character that has 15 range. In 1 second does 70 damage because he costs 2,000. And this guy is hilariously overpriced. Every upgrade is just insane. This is 100% the most expensive unit to upgrade. One of the most expensive. He costs more than the $4,000 dollar units. He's just crazy, and he's awful. Like, you'll not be able to get him the max. I couldn't get him the max. Not even close. I think I leveled him up like twice. All 3 of them. So, yeah. If you have to, you can, but honestly, take Commando Endo instead. Please. He is better than Commando Endo, but he's not worth the price. At 85, Shiny Foxy. Just the normal Shiny Foxy. You get 6 of them for 600. He does have a range of 10, so that means he hits, like, twice with a 0.75 cooldown. But he does do 100 damage. You do get 6 of them, so if you line him up just right, he will just be a mowing machine. Still not great, but honestly better than everything we've seen before this. So, 85. At 84 is All Artillery Puppet. He costs 150. He costs 1,500. He does 500 damage for 3 seconds. He does have a range of 40, though, which is why he's around here. He does cost a lot. That's why he's lower. and I don't think it makes up for the damage with the time. But with a range of 40, he does do good. He's just really slow. If he was a little bit faster, he would be way higher on this list, but he's just too slow. His range is awesome. His damage is awesome, but that cooldown just kills him. So, 84. At 83, we got Shiny Toy Chica. He does 300 damage in 1.5 seconds with 1250 cost. You get 2 of them, and honestly, not a bad choice for the stock one, which, you can just roll it in the machine, in the claw machine. It's not that hard. So, 83. Not bad whatsoever. At 82, surprisingly, Jacko Chica is 82 overall. He costs 3,000. That is a lot of money, I must understand, and he will not be worth it. But he's also not a hard unit to max. I think I was able to max 1 of them, which in the time was fair. For 2.5 seconds, he does 450 damage, or just place him down. He has 20 range. In 3 seconds, he does 300 damage, so that's 100 damage a second. I don't think is that bad. He surprised me. I thought he was going to be terrible. You get 3 of them. Honestly, not a bad choice. He is too expensive, but not a bad option. Especially with everything we've seen before. This is just better than everything else. At 81, number 1 crate. In 0.5 seconds, he either does 15, which is awful, or 50 damage. But honestly, he costs 500, so he's not very hard to upgrade at all. 20 range, honestly, overall, his stats, not bad whatsoever. You get to place 3 of them. He just slowly mows down characters, and yeah, he's just a decenter wave 4 unit. And at 80 is Baker Toy Chica. 0.8 seconds, does 75 damage, has 25 range, costs 800. You can place 3 of them, and honestly, surprisingly, Baker Chica is pretty decent, actually. Coming in at 80th. Honestly, he's better than everything before. You can make a debate on number 1 crate, but honestly, I think Baker Chica, Toy Chica is the best one we've seen. Especially, it's all ranked, so yes, of course it's the best one. But yeah. So at 79 is Major Freddy. He costs 1,000, and I don't think he makes up for it with any of his stats. He does do 40 damage in 0.3 seconds, which comes out to about around 120 damage in around a second and a little. You can place 4 of him, but this guy just costs way too much for what he does, his range, his damage. He is probably the best guy so far, but because you have 4 of them costing that much and every upgrade's more expensive, he's a rough one to pick. 79. 78. Talking about that, we have a character now that costs 4,000. And the only thing that he does is he has a lot of damage. 2 seconds, 1,000 damage. Honestly, for 4K, he's not terrible. There are better guys on this list. But 2 seconds, 1,000 damage. Normal 20 range, I think is probably a good, not a lot of range, but not a little range. It's a good middle ground, 20 range. So, 78. At 77 is a character that costs 3,000. That is honestly better than this one in every way, because it does 900 damage in a 1.5 seconds. And has 20 range once again, and you get 3 of them. So, just a better version in its entirety, but these 2 will take a lot to upgrade. This one is the better choice, though, absolutely. So 77. At 76 is another character, 3000. Once again, 550 damage in 1 second, 20 range. So, honestly, this guy does do more damage, but you do get one more of him. So he can do even more damage. But it's, yet again, hard to upgrade, hard to do all that stuff. So, 76. At 75, once again, 3000. But he does 650 in 1 second and has upped it to 25 range. So in the 3000 aspect, he's the best one out of all these, even the 4000 one. Overall, Algae Freddy is just good all around. Good damage, good cooldown, good range. But here's one issue. He costs a lot of money just to place, and in the shop he costs a lot of money. I think I bought him for 25k souls. Now we have Buccaneer Foxy at 74th. 50 damage, 0.7 speed, cooldown, and 20 range. Normal. Why did I put him so high? Because you get 6 of them. And if there's 6 of them, he's actually pretty dang good at his job. Will he cost a lot of money? Yes, but he's not going to cost as much as Algae Freddy would to max, because he only costs 400. 6 of them does add the price up, but still cheaper. So, Buccaneer Foxy, 74th. At 73rd, we have Nightmare Cupcake. Nightmare Cupcake is 73rd because he only costs 1500, which is still a lot, but honestly, all these guys before have been expensive, and he will be actually the cheapest so far to upgrade in the higher range, even cheaper than I'm pretty sure Buccaneer Foxy. And he has ability, actually. He slows enemies. He actually slows enemies by a decent amount. I'm not sure how much, but I could definitely tell. He does 250 damage in 1.5 seconds with 20 range. He's okay. I think he still costs a little too much. But what will you do? They are still better on this list, so 73rd. At 72nd, we have a character that costs 3,000. Why is this guy so high? Upgrading him is still going to cost a lot of money, but why is he higher than all the rest? Because instantly when you put him down, he has 17 range, he does 150 damage in 1 second, and he has a burn enemy ability, which will burn them over time. Honestly, just placing this guy down and not even upgrading him at all will still make him a good unit. That's why he is 72nd on this list. And if you max him, well, you don't really have to. Honestly, he doesn't even get that much better if you max him. He doubles his damage in the same amount of cooldown and ups it to 22 range, which is honestly still really good. And even though he costs 3,000, honestly, 9,000 to place down 3 of them and just leave him at that, still pretty dang good. That's why he's 72. At 71, we finally got to him. We have Shiny Freddy, the one you start with, but a shiny version of it. 60 damage, 0.75 cooldown, and 15 range. Issue with him, 15 range is really, really bad, but you can get 8 of him, which does cost a lot of money. But I was able to just barely max all of them. But that range kind of kills it, so he's down at 71. He only costs 300, but yet again, because there's 8, it still takes a lot to upgrade him. So that's why I put him slightly above this guy, but honestly, this guy would be a better guy to put down, in my opinion, at the very start. 70, we have Funtime Foxy. Maxing him is not hard whatsoever. He costs 450. He has 20 range. He has 125 damage in 1 second. You can place 3 of them. That's pretty dang good. This guy is definitely a really good starter so far. He's cheap. He does decent damage. Nothing really more to say. He's pretty good overall, and I like the look of him with his massive hammer. 70. At 69 is Shiny Cutlass Foxy. Shiny Cutlass Foxy is here just because of the amount of damage he does do. He costs 600. You can place through him. He does 200 damage. He has a cooldown of 0.75. His one issue is his range is only 10. That's really bad. He'll only get like 1 or 2 swings in. But 400 to 600 damage in a second to a second and a half is pretty good in my book. So 69. At 68, the glitched cupcake is actually somewhat viable, which is crazy. He costs 1,500, so he will take some money to upgrade. But if you give him the max, he has 20 range, does 80 damage in 0.35 seconds. That's 240 damage in 1 second. Honestly, he's pretty good. He just costs a lot. That's his issue. Overall, his stats are not bad. They're actually pretty dang good. At 67 is Brawler Foxy. 0.7 seconds, has 17 range, and does 125 damage. You get 3 of them. He costs 600. Overall, he's a cheap, good, reliable unit that actually has range. So, 67. So at 66 is Pirate Withered Foxy. Pretty much the almost exact same thing, honestly, but just a little bit more range, faster damage output at 50 in 0.3. You get 3 of them, cost 500. Honestly, he surprised me. I thought he'd be worse. He's not bad whatsoever. 66. At 65 is Withered Golden Freddy. One of the most expensive characters on this list, coming in at 3,000, but to buy him, it will be anywhere between 30,000 to 50,000 souls. This guy does 750 damage in 1 second if you max him, and has 20 range, but if you just leave him be, 300 damage in 1.5 seconds, 15 range. Honestly, not bad whatsoever, and you get 4 of him. He's expensive, but he's useful. Even though he's from Season 1, he's still a great starter. He just costs a lot of money. But honestly, he's kind of worth it, to be honest with you. But the money is the issue, so 65. At 64 is Shiny Toy Bonnie. 20 range, 150 damage in 0.75. 150 damage in less than a second is awesome. He does cost 1,000. He's more expensive, but honestly, he's not really that much more expensive than other characters, and he just does more for it. 64. And at 63 is Shiny Enraged Toy Freddy. Man, that's a long sentence. 4 seconds, 15 range, 1.5 cooldown. I mean, it's 400 damage, and only costs 600. Honestly, the only issue with this guy is his range is short. You get 3 of him, but his range is just too short. So that's why he's 63rd. He actually does a decent amount of damage, but his range is just not there. At 62 is the evolved version of Freddy Fazbear. 120 damage, 15 range, 0.75 cooldown. Only issue, once again, there's 8 of him. He only costs 300, but it will take a lot to upgrade him. It takes a lot to upgrade multiple characters. You know, he's 300, it's going to take a lot, and I don't think it's worth it as a starter. 61. This is why I put Shiny Cowboy Freddy above Freddy, because if you have 8 down, he's better, but if you just have 3, he will be better, because in 1 second, he does 200 damage, and he has 25 range. Overall, I think he's just a better starter. He's easier to upgrade. He only costs 700. I think he's just better, in my opinion. But if you want just a lot of damage, he will be better, but he has better range, better damage. His only issue, he has less characters to place with only 3. At 60 is Endo 2. 0.3 cooldown, 60 damage, 25 range. You can only place 4 of him. I think he's better than the normal the Evolved Freddy, because way more range. Similar. Actually, this guy actually has more damage output, and you get 4 of him, 600 each. Honestly, he's a pretty good option. You get 4 of him. He does a lot of damage really quickly, and he has a lot of range. It's pretty good, honestly. At 59, this might be a weird one that's so honestly high on this list, but for some reason, Witch Toy Chica just was performing well. She does have a glitched unit, so that could be why, but it was just performing pretty well. You get 3 of them, 500. It costs 500. It does 300 damage. It has 25 range in 2 seconds. Now that's not great, but it deals an additional 30% damage in poison. Honestly, I don't know if it's just 30%, because it's like Witch Chica was actually doing really well, honestly. I don't think it never killed one of the characters. Well, none of these guys have, but it came really, really close to like slivers of health, making it out of its range. So that's why it's 59. At 58, we have the most expensive character on this list to max. Honestly, to max one of these, I think it costs around, I think it's $40,000 to $50,000. He costs $4,000 to put down, but also he does the most damage by far. He does a crazy amount of damage if you're actually able to max him. He does 1,000 damage in 1 second. He has 20 range. But actually what you are going to get, because he costs 4,000, is you're going to place 1 of him and leave him stock, which he'll do 500 damage and have a range of 15 and do it in 1.5. So in 1.5 seconds, you get 500 damage. And honestly, that's pretty crazy, and that's pretty dang good in my opinion. He is the evolved version of the Golden Freddy, which honestly is insanely better in every way. You get to place 3 of them. And honestly, if you just want a really heavy hitter starter and you don't really care about the money, this is definitely what you will want to pick. He's just insane. With that, we move on to 57, which is just kind of a cheaper version, actually. He costs 600. You can place 3 of them. He does 400 damage, a range of 20 in 1.5 seconds. So in 3 seconds, he does about 960 damage. So honestly, he's not bad whatsoever. He is good. Well, sorry, in 4 seconds, he does 960 damage. Honestly, he's actually really good. If you just want damage, not so fast, he's honestly a really good option. 57. At 56, here we go. One of the untested characters that I could not get my hands on. But overall, he's pretty good. He does cost a lot. He costs $1,500, so he's a bit lower on this list. But the Hooligan Toy Bonnie, if you ever even get your hands on him, because I've only seen Hooligan Toy Bonnie put up twice on the marketplace, and once was for $50,000 and the other was for $100,000. So I don't know how much this guy's worth, but he has a range of 20 that does not change. He has a cooldown of 1 that does not change. The only thing that changes is his damage. He starts out with 100 damage in 1 second, and he can go up to 300 damage in 1 second. 300 damage in 1 second is actually pretty good. But the issue is he costs $1,500, and I feel like there's just better characters on this list that are cheaper, that are better. So, 56 because of how much he costs. At 55 is a weird one. Is Present Boy. Costs $750. He can do 900 damage. He has a range of 25 in 3 seconds. He's 55 because that cooldown kills him. That's an insane cooldown, but at least he does 900 damage, which honestly, for 750, is pretty good. You get to place 3 of them, but that cooldown kills it. So 55. At 54 is Tavern Chica. 1200, which honestly is expensive, but is slightly better than Present Boy, because, cooldown. 0.5 cooldown, does 150 damage, has 20 range. Costs a little bit more, but honestly, it's not terrible. There's use for it. And honestly, it's an okay unit overall. Only issues is the money cost, I think, is still a little bit much. I think if it was 900, I think it would be worth it. But for 12, no. So 54. At 53 is Party Chica. 100 damage, 20 range, 0.4 cooldown. This thing just hits hard, does a lot of damage, and is honestly decent overall. Just does so much damage so fast. He only costs 500. You can place 3 of them. He's not a bad option whatsoever. If you need a starter, you would not be upset with this one. 53. At 52 is literally the same thing, just the cooldown is more. Their damages are almost equal, honestly. But if you want something that hits a little bit slower but hits harder, you want to go with Dino Withered Chica. Does 250 damage, a range of 20, and a cooldown of 1. Costs 500. You can place 3 of them. Again, just a good unit overall. Pretty much the same as this one. I just put it ahead because I think I would rather have more damage faster, in my opinion. Well, slower, I mean. I just want to see 250 hit, honestly, instead of seeing 100 hit over and over again. So, 52. 51 is Shiny Archer Freddy. This was a update that was not long ago. Everyone should have this guy. He's even really cheap. You can place 5 of him. He does 400 damage. He has a range of 25 in 1.5 seconds. He costs 300. He's higher because you can place more of him, and honestly, 5 is easier to upgrade. Yes, these guys will be cheaper to upgrade, but having 5 of these will just destroy anything in your path, really. Hopefully, anyways. He's still not insane because he's, still only wave 4. But overall, pretty good. You have to spend a little bit more money upgrading more characters, but honestly, I think it's worth it. 51. 50. We got Phantom Cupcake. Phantom Cupcake at 50. Does 250 damage, has 25 range, same as this one, but cooldown of 1 second. You can place 4 of him. He costs 800, so honestly, they are pretty similar. This one still does more damage, but overall, this one you place 1 less, costs a little bit more, but honestly, he's cheaper. 2 max on all of. So at 49 is Shiny Demolition Toy Chica. He costs $12.50. Does 600 damage, 17 range, and 1.5 cooldown. 600 damage and 1.5 is not bad, but that range is pretty awful. You do get another one. This is just the evolution of the original Toy Chica. So, it's better. You get one more. It does more damage. So there's that. 49. 48. Rad Freddy. 500 damage in 2 seconds. But isn't this guy better? Actually, yes. But what brings this guy so far ahead is its range. It starts at 30 and goes up to 45. Just in general, a starter having range is just a lot better. So honestly, Rad Freddy is still high up in the usability range. Costs 800. You get 3 of them. He has 45 range, does 500 damage in 2 seconds. And honestly, he's pretty good. 48. 47, pretty much the same thing, but an easier guy to get, which is the shiny cupcake, sniper cupcake. Literally, like the same unit. So 47, just because it's an easier guy to get. He does cost a little more. Wait, actually, no, they are the same unit. They cost the same. Okay, so 47 for sniper cupcake because it's the same unit. It's just easier to get. At 46, this guy costs a lot. 2,750, which is a lot, but he does 700 damage in 1 second if you give him the max. And even if you don't, 400 damage, 15 range, 1.2 cooldown is still really, really good. That's why he's this high, just because his base, if you just set down his base, is still really good. He will cost a lot to max, but you don't have to max him. His base will do just fine. He doesn't have too much range, but he's fine. His cooldown's good. His damage is good. You get to place 3 of them. 46 is one issue. He costs a lot of money. 45, Sentinel Bonnie. 25 damage in 0.05 seconds. If you max him, which you probably won't, but there's a good chance you do, just because you get only 2 of him, is 45 damage in 0.05. So this guy just mows units down. He costs 4,000 though, so he is a lot of money. But he is honestly pretty good for what he is. Having 2 of these guys down that just mows down units, even if they're base, still really good. So, range is not great. Cooldown's amazing. Damage is good for the cooldown. So 45. You only get the 2 though. At 44 is literally the same thing, but just does more damage. So if this guy, you get 2 of him. You get to place him for 30. He does 30 damage in 0.05, which is better. So honestly, this guy's the better choice. But the issue is, this guy costs around 11,000 souls. This guy is the most expensive unit on this list, coming out at 175,000 souls. This is the second untested guy, just because he costs insane amount, and he doesn't even do that much damage. I don't know why he costs so much. But he's untested, but I'm sure he's going to land in the same area as this guy. Still only place a 2, still 4,000. He just does a little bit more damage, so I put him slightly above. But because of the cost, just get a better unit on this list, just because he's not going to be worth the price. At 43, we got Slick Bonnie. Slick Bonnie costs 2k, which is a decent amount. But he actually does a lot of damage, and you can actually upgrade him. 12,000 damage, 15 range in 1.5 seconds. We're taking a big leap. That's a lot of damage. But because he costs so much, and there are better units on this list that cost less, that do similar things, he only gets 43. Just because his cost and his cooldown, because in the battle, his cooldown will really take into play, and his cooldown at 2 seconds is just not good at all for 600 damage. With 10 range. So that's why he's at 43. He does a lot of damage, but his just stats don't really keep up, and his cost is just too much. At 42 is Shiny Nightmare Balloon Boy. 200 damage in 0.5 seconds with 20 range. He got 1,500. It is a lot, but this guy's actually worth it. He is actually a really good unit. You get 4 of him. He's just very useful. If you get all 4 down, even if they're not upgraded, he still does 140 damage in 1 second. And if you have all 4, that's still going to be useful. He's good. He just costs a little much, in my opinion. So 42. At 41 is Shiny Raider. Raider. I think it's Raider, Freddy. He gets 2 swords. He does 400 damage, 25 range, in 1.2 seconds. You get 4 of him. He costs 600. That's a good price. His issue is his cooldown, because above this guy, the cooldowns are better. They do more damage. This is the one that his first upgrade, his just stock form, is faster than the upgraded form. So you're getting slower with more damage, which is interesting, but I personally don't like it. So he's getting 41. At 40 is Shiny Cool Toy Bonnie. 300 damage in 0.75 seconds, 20 range, and he only costs 750. That's good all around. You get 3 of him. So would this guy be better if you place all 4? Of course. But if you just want one starter, not want to spend too much money, this guy's good. You'll do really well. Shiny Cool Toy Bonnie is upgraded version of Toy Bonnie, and he's just good all around, honestly. Like, the only issue is that he's just not one of the better units. He is good all around. He just is one of the older units, so he was good for the time. He's just not great now. So 40. 39. Withered Chica. I know a lot of people who ragged on Withered Chica, but honestly, Withered Chica's a dang good starter, coming in at 39th. He costs 800. You get 2 of him, but he does 625 damage in 0.9 seconds. He has 15 range. He is a good unit. He just slams through people, and even though you only get the 2 of him, he's still good. He's still a really good unit. Issues are, you only get the 2 of him. It'd be awesome if we got 1 more, but it's only the 2. His range is not great, but he just does the damage really fast, and he's useful. 39. 38. We got Rockin' Bonnie. Rockin' Bonnie is an actual goat of a unit. You get 5 of him. He costs 500 each. He does 175 damage, 20 range, and 0.5 cooldown. 175 damage and 0.5 is awesome, especially when you get 5 of him. The only reason he's not higher is because you have to place all 5 to get the usefulness out of him, which will cost money. But even stock form, 100 damage, 0.05 is still really good. Rockin' Bonnie is a great unit, coming in at 38. At 37, these are the best. These, after Rockin' Bonnie just slightly makes it out because of how many you have to place. But these are the best of the Wave 4 category. Everything above this are the greatest that made it to Wave 4. Literally, they probably barely didn't make Wave 5 because their range or something else stopped them. Coming in at 37 is Grim Foxy. 800 damage, 25 range, 1.5 cooldown, 500. He costs 500. You get to place 3 of him. He's just a goat of a unit. Like the Nightmare, the Fire guys, and the Grim guys are all pretty terrible. But Grim Foxy is not one of them, because he is really good. He was just destroying the characters. Destroying the people the wave 7, but he just has his one weakness is his cooldowns just too slow to be able to make it to wave 5. So 37. At 36 is the Shiny Nightmare Bot, which honestly is the exact same unit, costs $100 more, but his base is better. His base has a better cooldown and more damage, so of course he's going to be higher because his base is just better. He does 800 damage, 25 range, and 1.5 cooldown. You get to place 3 of him, and this guy honestly impressed me. He did really, really well for what he is. So, yeah, honestly, same cooldown, same damage, but better base. It's like the same thing, just better in a way. Just cost, as long as you're okay spending $100 more, get 3 of them still. 36. 35 is Gladiator Foxy. I have a friend that I gave a Gladiator Foxy to, and was like, I need a better starter. Gladiator Foxy is not a bad starter, and this proves it. 500 damage, 22 range in 1 second. 500 damage in 1 second is good. Costs 600, you get 3 of them. He will do very, very well. That's for sure. Honestly, his issue is the range, even though it's 22, is still just not enough. It just isn't enough for this dude. Honestly, if his range was honestly even just a little bit more like 25, if it was 30, he would be goated. But 25 even, he probably would have made it to wave 5. But he just couldn't. So, but 500 damage in 1 second is really, really good. 35. At 34, we got Jackpot Freddy. He's a bit weaker on the characters, but Jackpot Freddy is just honestly a really, really good starter just because he's up here because of that gold rush. He generates more money, and it's just good. So that's why he's up here, even though he should be a little bit more back, but he's up here because of the gold rush ability. He still does 300 damage in 0.8 seconds with 15 range. You can place 3 of them. He only costs 500. Issues are he just doesn't have the actual capabilities, really. He's lacking on range, that's for sure. His cooldown and damage aren't quite there. So he has some drawbacks, especially in the range. But he only costs 500 and it'll generate you a lot of money. So 35. Wait, 34, sorry. 33. This one's a surprise to even me. Is Nutcracker Chica. Honestly. Because I used her. I have used her. I didn't think she was this good, though. 33. She does cost a lot. 1,500 is a lot of money. But if you max her, she does 300 damage in 0.5. 300 damage 0.5 is really good. And the cool thing about the base, the cooldown and the range don't change. The only thing the damage does. The damage gets a little bit more than half with 140 damage. So you might be in a little bit of trouble at the start, but as long as you get her to max, you'll be good. You get 3 of them. Issue with Nutcracker Chica is she just costs a lot more than I think she should. 1,500 is a little much for this one. 32. This guy is crazy. Nightmare Freddy, don't sit on him because he is crazy. He costs $750. You get to place 3 of him, but he has 400 damage in 0.5. Wait, what is that? So 8. He does 30. He does 3,200 damage in 4 seconds. He's a crazy starter. His only issue is his range is just bad. 15 range is just not enough. But that damage output is crazy. This guy packs a punch. So it comes in at 32. And now is the last character from Wave 4. We finally did it. We finally cleared it out. After this, we move on to Wave 5 characters. But the last character in Wave 4 is Withered Foxy. He costs 1,200, which is a decent amount of money, but he is absolutely worth it. He does 750 damage in 0.75 seconds. So, still better than this guy, which is awesome. He is honestly really, really, really good. If you're starting out, this one would be a great guy to get your hands on. He's cheap. He doesn't cost much at all. Like, literally, 50 souls. But yeah, he is just awesome. You get 3 of him. Honestly, this guy, I don't even know how he didn't make it to Wave 5. Honestly, I think he was on the last dude before he made it. His range is not perfect. You still get 20 range, but the issue is I think he needed 22 range to actually make it to Wave 5, which is crazy to say. And he does cost a decent amount than the other. So the first character in Wave 5 is Shiny Glamrock Freddy. Is now 30th. He costs 500. He does 600 damage, 25 range, and has a cooldown of 1.5. He's, honestly, from this guy to this guy, he does less damage, but he has more range. Range is more important, huh? Now that I think about it. It's just more important, isn't it? Because this guy made to Wave 5. He does less damage, but he has more range. So that is why. Huh. That is weird. But 30th is Shiny Glamrock Freddy, the first one to make it to Wave 5. The second one to make it to Wave 5, which everyone does not like, is Mechanic Afton at 29. He is the weakest of the bunch, but he does only cost 600. He does 240 damage in 0.5 with 25 range once again. So, leaning into 25 range, you get to Wave 5 pretty much. It does have a special ability, which is why I'm putting it above Glamrock Freddy, because it spawns little guys that do 5,000 damage each. So that's also a big reason why this guy made it to 29. 28 is actually a really, really, this one really surprised me. And honestly, this one I'm pretty sure is the easiest guy to get. Literally the easiest guy. This guy sells, the normal one sells for 10 souls. This one I think sells for 50 souls. The augmented Endo is honestly one of the better guys at Wave 5 and probably the cheapest unit of the entire list that you can get your hands on. You can place 4 of him, costs 600, does 150 damage in 0.3 seconds with, once again, 25 range to bump him up to Wave 5. This is actually interesting. I didn't realize this. But, yeah. If you're just starting out, you want a really cheap starter, this is the way to go for sure. which is kind of crazy to me because this guy looked like everyone doesn't really care about him, but he's actually pretty decent. The 28th best starter in the game. At 27 is Shiny Glamrock Chica. She costs 2,500, which is a lot more, but she does 1,000 damage in 1.2 seconds with a range of 20. Just absolutely dominating with that damage output. Her issue is she costs a decent amount of money, but because of the damage output, I have to just put it up a little bit higher. So, does cost a decent amount of money, has less range, but does a lot of damage. So, 27. At 26, the only character that made it to Wave 6, which is also on the cheaper end of characters, the Shiny Phantom Foxy. 600 damage in 0.75 seconds, range of 20, costs 900, and you get 4 of him. Really decent character. Honestly, this guy is really, really good. And I have actually decided I have a Spring-Locked one now, just because I think he's a cool starter. He made it to Wave 6. He costs, 900. He's just a good character all around. Range, not perfect, but it's still good. Damage, amazing. 26th overall. Now, Wave 7 is a weird one, because we are starting out at 25 with Wave 7. Bucket Bob does 1,000 damage. Not 1,000. Does 100 damage, has 22 range, and has a cooldown of 0.4. So honestly, not great overall, but you do get 4 of him, and what puts him at Wave 7 is his ability. He slows all enemies in range by 20%. He only costs 302. He's also the cheapest character to place. He's literally the cheapest. There's nothing cheaper than 300. So, honestly, because of the cooldown, he makes it to Wave 7, which is honestly crazy, and is a good unit overall. He doesn't do much damage, but the cooldown will help a lot, so 25. 24, an also crazy one, Elizabeth, comes in at 24th. She also made it to Wave 7. 300 damage in 1 second, has a range of 20. You can only place 3 of them. She does she costs 400, but her ability, I think, is a little bit better than Bucket Bob's. Attack slows enemies 30. So, her ability slows characters 10% more. She does more damage. So, I just put her above it. She is Spring Lock too. Crazy enough. This one's a more expensive unit, but honestly, if you want, use a different starter, this is definitely the way to go. 24th. 23rd, now we get up to Wave 12. A big jump, I must admit. And coming in, which is probably the best starter that you can get your hands on early game. And that is Shiny Elite Sniper Cupcake. This is the evolved version of Cupcake. 1,000 damage in 2 seconds and has 45 range. This guy is crazy. You get 3 of him. He only costs 750 to place. And he's got the power. The cooldown's not great, but he just has the amount of range to make up for it. And he's just a great unit coming in at 23rd with Wave 12. Now we move up to Wave 13. We have Lulbit. And actually, to let you know, Lulbit was my starter for a while. But crazy enough. Lulbit is really expensive, coming in at 4,000. That's the only reason she's the first person in Wave 13, coming in 22nd. But she does 1,800 damage, 25 range in 2 seconds. You get 2 of them. What brings her out and what makes her so good is her ability, the ranged area stun. If anything's in her range, she stuns it. Just it immediately stuns it. Not as good as the Moon's ability. The Moon costs more. This is definitely the best stun ability as the starters, and I used it a lot with, Deadeye Freddy, and it was just really useful, but it just costs way too much. You only get 2 of them, so I have to put it at 22. I would like to put it higher, but the cost is just way too much. At 21, President Freddy, Wave 13. 1,700 damage in 3 seconds, which is, 3 seconds is a lot. But 22 range. He costs 300 to place. You can place 4 of him really easily, max them really easily. The issue is that cooldown. The cooldown definitely brings him down. But he's still 21st. 20th, actually, the newest character on this list in its entirety, which is Pig Patch. Shiny Pig Patch. Which is crazy enough, is actually a really good starter. Honestly, this is probably the easiest unit to get. Just do the endless mode right now. Get a little box whenever you get a box. Open it. It's probably going to be Pig Patch. So, honestly, this is also a really good one. Pig Patch comes in at 600 damage in 1 second with 25 range. And the only thing that changes through upgrades is its damage from 350 to 600. So its cooldown and range does not change, which is honestly pretty useful. You can place 3 of them, cost 500 to place, and is a really, really good starter. Pig Patch comes in at 20th. And just to let you know, there's more than the 9.5k that exists right now. This was when it first released. At 19th is a crazy one, but hear me out on this one. Jacko Cannon does 1,500 damage in 1.5 seconds with 25 range. Not amazing. And it costs 3,000 to play. So why is it 19th? Well, this one is a special character that does not do anything like the other ones. You can place 3 of them. Yes, does its placement cost a lot? Absolutely. But to upgrade it is probably, honestly, one of the cheapest characters to upgrade. Like with just as cheap as Bucket Bob. Yes, you have to place it down with 3,000. But its upgrades are really, really cheap. So it's a really interesting unit. And as long as you start with 3k, honestly, he's not a bad guy to place down. Because you can upgrade him easily. He'll do 1,500 damage in 1.5 seconds with 25 range. That's pretty good. So, Jacko Cannon, you cost a lot to place, and you cost a lot in the stores. You cost like 9k souls. You still take 19th, in my opinion. 18th is Vendor Toy Chica. It's just a great unit. Because 1,200 damage, 25 range in 1.5 seconds. He does cost 1,000 to place, but honestly 1,000 isn't terrible. And it just does a lot of damage. Even if you don't upgrade it, it still does 1,000 damage in 1.5 seconds with 20 range. That's still awesome. You get 3 of them. It's just another great Wave 13 character. So 18th place. 17th place is Zeus Freddy. Zeus Freddy does 1,500 damage in 1.5 seconds with 27 range. Just a better Jacko Cannon. He costs 500 place down. Yes, to upgrade him will cost a bit more. Like fully upgrade him. But it works. You get 3 of them. Honestly, this guy, I think, might be a little bit cheaper or just the same price as fully upgrading Jacko Cannon. That's how good Jacko Cannon's upgrades are, how cheap they are. So, Zeus Freddy, you come in 13th just because you're easier to upgrade, easier to place. 17th. 16th, still on Wave 13, is Purple Guy. 700 damage in 1 second with 30 range. He costs 600 to place. You get 3 of them. That does not seem great, his damage, compared to the other guys here. But he does have a lot more range. And he has an ability. He spawns turrets that have that does 50 damage with 150 DPS each, which I don't know what that means, but what I guess is each shot does do like 50 damage, which is honestly. And he's just a good unit overall. He probably comes closer to like 1,000 damage in a second or something like that if he's fully upgraded. So 16th. 15th, Wet Floor Bot. 500 damage in 1 second with 25 range. He costs 400 to place. You get 3 of him. This guy is even worse than Purple Guy, but I think his ability is just great for an entire team. Of course, it's a starter. He's not amazing on his own, but with a team, he's still good. And don't forget, he still made it to Wave 13 on his own. He has the ability of all units in range attack 10% faster. And honestly, that is a really good thing. 10% faster is pretty good. Honestly, why am I not using Wet Floor Sign? That is a good question. But it is good overall, and I think it's awesome. So 15th, that ability. 14th is Phone Guy. He does 80 damage in 0.5 seconds with 25 range. He costs 750. You get 3 of them. This guy is not amazing. What is that? That's 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. He does 400 damage in a second. But his ability, I think, is also really great. Slows all enemies in range by 30. So just all enemies around him, all enemies within 25 range is slowed, which I think is honestly awesome. It's very useful, especially when you have a team. So 14th. At 13th is Freddy Frostbear. Freddy Frostbear has a range of 25. He does 700 damage in 1 second. He costs 400 to play, so he's honestly pretty cheap. And you get 3 of them. That's actually decent damage. Not amazing, but decent. But his ability, enemies hit by attack are slowed by 30. So he slows by 30 still, but he has to hit them. But he also... So at number 12 is Crying Child. Crying Child is actually a really, really good unit. This one just came out too, and is already the 12th best starter. Does 290 damage in 0.25 cooldown with a range of 28. But even if you don't upgrade him, the only thing that changes is 90 damage and 6 range, which is crazy. He costs 350. This is a character that you don't even have to upgrade, so he's probably the absolute cheapest, coming at 350. So it's just a little bit over $1,000 to fully upgrade him. I mean, to put down 3 of them. And his ability is awesome, which is slows enemies by 25%. So anything in the 28 range is slowed by 25%. He's just really good. He is honestly awesome. At 11th, right out of the top 10, and the last person in the Wave 13 range is Fan. Fan is just really good. 500 damage in 0.5 seconds. So 1,000 damage in a second. He has 27 range. He costs 250, which is actually the cheapest unit of the entire list. And I didn't even realize it went under 300. But this guy's 250. He's the absolute cheapest unit. He's really cheap to max evolve and upgrade. And he has the ability that's just awesome. Attacks slow enemies by 30%. He slows enemies by 30%. And you can place 3 of them. He's definitely 11th. Now we finally get into the top 10 and finally get out of the Wave 13. At number 10 is a crazy one, because it made it to Wave 15. Bounted Mangle. 500 damage in 0.4 seconds with a range of 30. But he costs 4,000. Which honestly, that damage output is not amazing, especially for 4,000. And because it's 4,000, you're probably going to be doing closer to 300 damage in 0.7 with 20 range. But his ability it makes him way easier to upgrade because generates lots of money, extra money over time with actual good damage. So it's a lot easier to upgrade him because of the money. He's actually pretty interesting. You get 3 of him, and he's definitely, even though he's 4,000, he's the 10th best starter. For sure, because he made the wave 15. At number 9, we got wave 17, Shiny Eclipse. When I first saw Eclipse, I thought it was terrible. But honestly, it's not. Because it costs 3,000 to place, which is also a lot, but it's at least cheaper. But it will be hard to upgrade because it doesn't generate money like Bounted Mangle. So it probably is going to do closer to 1.8 seconds with 1,700 damage in 20 range, which is honestly not bad, because if you max upgrade him, he's 3,000 in 1.5, which is amazing. But 1,700 is not bad whatsoever. So honestly, it did really well. It did awesome. 9th place. Coming in at 8th, which is wave 18. One bear is Tarnished Spring Bonnie. I thought Tarnished Spring Bonnie would be better, but 8th overall is not bad at all. 360 damage, 27 range, 0.3 cooldown, so about a little bit over 1,000 damage in a second, like 1,100 damage in a second. He costs 600 to place. You get 3 of them. Amazing character. No ability, because he just doesn't need one. He just is sheer force and sheer ability. 8th. Coming in to 7th, with again wave 18, is Night Guard Afton. Everyone thought this was the best, but it's just not. He does 450 damage, 25 range, and 0.8 seconds. So, about 500 damage, or 600 damage in a second. You can place 3 of him. He costs 550. And he has a good ability, that's for sure. He slows enemies by 40%, which is definitely the best here, by far. And deals 50 damage and poison. So he is awesome. He deals 50 damage and poison, which probably brings him closer to about 1,000 damage in a second, with 40% slowdown, which is the best slow starter. So he definitely deserves a 7th. But they are just better characters that did better things. So he is 7th. He's not the best starter. At 6 is actually a really crazy one, because Fortified Endo we saw a long time ago. But Fortified Endo 2, the upgrade version, is 6th. 200 damage in 0.2 seconds, so he does 1,000 damage in a second with a range of 25, is just amazing. You get 4 of him. He costs 500 each. He's not that hard to max upgrade. He does a lot of damage actually in a second with a decent amount of range, and he made it to wave 22, 4 better than Night Guard Afton, which is crazy. So at number 5, coming in at wave 25, is Alien Helpy. 1,700 damage, 25 range in 1.6 seconds. That's a lot of damage. That's pretty good. And he only costs 450. You get 3 of them. He is definitely the 5th best starter. If you just want someone who packs punch and doesn't have any abilities, Helpy's definitely a good one. Helpy's just going to smash through those early waves. But yes, he's a starter. So late waves, he really won't be that helpful. At number 4, we are at the top 4. And we jump from 25 to 32 is Tarnished Fredbear. He does 480 damage in 0.4 seconds. So, like, 1,200 damage in a second. He has 27 range. He costs 600 to place. You get 3 of them. But his good ability, he has a good ability, which is to slow enemies by 30. So in that 27 range, the enemies will be slowed. And he is the 4th best starter by far. He is awesome and amazing. Now we move on to number 3. Once again, wave 32. And it's Dark Frostbear. He cost 100,000 souls. And Dark Frostbear can't even be the best starter so far. His ability is just slightly better. He does 1,100 damage in 1 second. He still has 27 range. You get 3 of them. Cost 400 each. But his ability is slightly better. Enemies hit by attack are slowed by 35%. 35% is better, in my opinion. Just how it is. Oh, Kitty, what's wrong? But yeah, Dark Frostbear is not worth the money anymore. Honestly, pick up him for a Vengeance one is like 14k. Don't spend 100k on this guy. He's not worth it anymore. Now, number 2 is Bear 5. You all thought Bear 5 was poopy, but he is not. He made it 1 wave better. He's wave 33. He does 200 damage in 25%, so he does 800 damage in a second. He has 22 range, and his range and cooldown does not change with upgrades, only his damage. And his attack slows enemies by Bear 5, which, whatever that means, I think it's 5 to 15% or 20%. I don't think it's 30%, but something in that range. You get 5 of him, though. 5 of him is pretty useful. It costs 555 to place. He's just overall a very useful guy, and he made it 1 wave better. And who is the absolute greatest starter in the game? Well, we jump from wave 33 to wave 63. The best starter in the game is Frost Plush Trap. Frost Plush Trap costs 3,500 to place, which is a lot of money, but he is just a damage unit. He does 6,000 damage in 2.5 seconds with 25 range, or if you just leave him stock, he'll do 3,000 damage in 3 seconds with a range of 20. But he also slows enemies. We're not sure what the slow is because it doesn't have the stats, but he slows enemies. He just does a crap ton of damage and slows enemies. You get 3 of them. He's just an amazing unit overall. He's definitely the greatest because there's just doesn't matter how much he costs. He is double second place pretty much with waves. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a bit different and a bit weird, but I want to do just some different things. I like ranking stuff, so this is a cool ranking stuff. I might do a few more of these, but I will definitely just mostly focus on Nerf. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to check out my Nerf channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.